The stage is set in the Sugar Bowl. You got the Dogs and the Irish. After what Notre Dame did last night, and the news that we got recently that Carson Beck will not be playing quarterback for Georgia, what do we think about this game? Now, we will have a prediction for you for this game this upcoming Tuesday on this platform, the On3 YouTube channel, on the show, The Hard Count. So make sure you're subscribed. If you're a Georgia fan, you're a Notre Dame fan, let me know in the comment section what you think is going to happen in this game. Want to hear your takes. Fire them off right now. Just taking a quick peek at this one, if you will. The quick peek at the line is interesting. Notre Dame, only a 1.5-point dog. What that tells us is Vegas does not know what to make of Georgia without Carson Beck in the lineup, and they're really impressed with Notre Dame and what they did last night against Indiana. So, with that being said, I think it doesn't take a rocket scientist or someone who just grinds tape for a living to know it's going to come down to the trenches in this one. Now, what I saw last night from Notre Dame, I don't think they'll be overwhelmed by Georgia up front. I truly don't. I think if you can get Jeremiah Love healthy, if you can keep that same versatility in the run game and keep Georgia off balance, like we've seen Haynes King at the quarterback position give Georgia a little bit of trouble up front, all right? Have a little bit of success that way with the misdirection. Going to take a lot from Mike Denbrock. More on that in a second. Now, for Georgia, what I just said is I think Notre Dame can hang up front in the trenches. I also thought Texas could hang up front in the trenches. 2 games in a row. Came in both Sundays with egg on my face. Like, that could kind of be the overall ace up the sleeve for Kirby Smart and this team, especially now with the fact that this Georgia team, Kirby Smart talked a lot about them being beat up and having to go through the gauntlet of the SEC. That's not going to be the case in this game. They've had 24 days to get right. That's a scary thought. It's scarier if it actually translates to be reality where Georgia is that big dog up front and you got Jalen Walker shot out of a cannon and Mykel Williams doing his thing, because last night, Indiana, are they Georgia? No. Do they have some success maybe putting pressure on Riley Leonard even though it wasn't a sack all the time? I saw that. A little bit. So it's going to be really interesting to see who's able to win up front. If it's a stalemate, things I think then translates or pivot rather to the perimeter and who's able to have a little bit more of the explosivity in the pass game or just quite frankly dial it up. Was talking with Caden Smith, our producer for this show, before we got rolling on this segment, and I think he put it perfectly. It really does come down to which coordinator can dial it up and create the explosive plays. Because I think, especially for Notre Dame, you've seen Georgia have some explosive plays allowed against them. Like Quinn Ewers walked into Atlanta in the SEC title game, went for over 300 yards. If you had told me before the game Texas is going to go for over 300 yards through the air, I'd say, okay, Texas probably won the SEC then. Not the case. Now, I love Riley Leonard and what he brings to the table. He's not going to throw for 300 yards. He hasn't gone for over 250 all year long, and that's fine. That's not his bag, but just understand now, if we're going to play this game in a box a little bit up front, we still have to have answers to be able to go over the top against Georgia at some point in time here. Because I think if we're going to be real, that's the most gettable part of this secondary. Flip that on its head. If I'm Georgia, we got to find ways to win one-on-one matchups. Like, that's the scariest part to me about Notre Dame is when you saw them play Indiana, they were cool with putting their dudes on an island and apply pressure. Gunnar Stockton, we got to find a way to be two-dimensional as an offense. Because as much as I love what Georgia is when it comes to just punching you in the mouth, as much as I actually think with Gunnar Stockton at quarterback, it might be more of what you want/need if you're a Georgia football fan from your football team, more vintage Georgia with how they want to run the football. You still got to have answers in the pass game. Like on 3rd and 7, you still got to be able to deliver the ball to an Oscar Delp or to an Arian Smith downfield. So for Mike Bobo, how much can you dial it up? How much can you get the man coverage of Notre Dame out of sorts? How much can you keep away with Xavier Watts back there at safety for Notre Dame? That's going to be a major, major factor in who's able to get leverage in this game. Because the Notre Dame-Indiana game obviously is a very, different situation from a matchups perspective, but I think the game flow in itself could be very, very similar when it comes to what's required to win. It's going to be a lot of punch you in the face, black eye here, break your rotator cuff there, bite your kneecap there. And then at the end of the day, it's going to come down to, okay, who was able to, in that cloud of just humanity and in the back and forth and the grudge match that it was, who's able to get leverage. The leverage points last night for Notre Dame were the Jeremiah Love 98-yard touchdown run. You had the Jordan Faison explosive play. And a lot of that, too, was just able to move the football in the trenches. I don't think you'll have that same edge against Georgia. Same deal with Georgia. It's going to be a lot of can you find the explosive plays downfield with Gunnar Stockton. Now, we can talk X's and O's all day. Like, that's one of the many things that we love about being able to talk about the sport for a living. We got two football guys running the show between myself and Caden Smith. And we love the match, love the breakdowns, love the film, all that. But there is some unquantifiable factor to college football and to especially college football, playoff football, that you just can't exactly predict in this situation. Because the way that Notre Dame has trended all year long since NIU, to me, has been like a plane taking off. It's been slow but steady, and now they're starting to crescendo at the right time. I don't think anybody would argue what Notre Dame did last night against Indiana was their best performance, most impressive performance of the year since week one when they beat Texas A&M in College Station. Does that translate? Does that continue? Or is it a situation where you run into your most difficult roster test you've had all year from a talent perspective, and it's like, hey, we just, we've stepped under the heavy bar for a bit this year, but like it's a different beast. That's a different beast. And we've seen that from previous Notre Dame teams. Spoiler alert, I don't think that's this Notre Dame team. I think they're built different. I think they'll hang in. I'd be wildly surprised if they were overwhelmed. However, from a talent perspective, again, there's that potential. There's absolutely that potential. Now, on the other side, for Georgia, we've talked about Kirby Smart and his championship pedigree. That matters. But I also think, as much as we've talked about this being Kirby Smart's best coaching job this year, reading between the lines, this is not the same Georgia team of old. This is not the Georgia team where you're like, okay, we got to find a way to steal possessions. We got to find a way to get turnovers. Like if we can't get an onside kick and convert on fourth downs here and there, like there's just no chance for us. That's not this Georgia team. That's not speaking down on what they are, but like with Gunnar Stockton playing quarterback, if I told you as a Notre Dame fan before the year started, you're going to get Georgia the second round of the college football playoff, and Carson Beck will not be the quarterback because he's hurt. You like your chances? Like, I mean, the Vegas obviously likes Notre Dame's chances, having them as a 1.5-point dog. They think that's going to be a close game. So all that's to say here, which team has better competitive composure in this spot? Who's able to take the bad play? Or who's able to take the muffed punt in the first quarter or in the second quarter at a crucial spot, get scored on, and then turn around, gather themselves, and be able to go play championship-level football going forward? I think the swings in this game and who handles them the best emotionally and competitively, that's going to be a massive factor in who ends up winning this football game, as is with any game, but especially in this one with national title aspirations for both these squads. So I cannot wait for it, man. Irish and the Dogs. Marcus Freeman, what he's done this year, I think is also one of the best coaching jobs of the entire college football season, very quietly. Kirby Smart is Kirby Smart. Riley Leonard and his trajectory at Notre Dame, and Gunnar Stockton, his first start, I believe, as a Georgia Bulldog, or definitely his most important start as a Georgia Bulldog, as the quarterback. It's going to be a lot of fun. So expect a lot of physicality, expect a lot of black and blue in this one when it comes to how both teams feel post-game, but it'll be a lot of fun. Excited to break it all down for you. Give you our prediction again on Tuesday, so make sure you're subscribed right here to the On3 YouTube channel, to this show, The Hard Count. For Caden Smith on the ones and twos, for myself, JD PicKell, we appreciate y'all. We love y'all. Going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.